From God of War to Marvel's Spider-Man, the best PS4 games are a mix of genres, lengths, and difficulties. Since 2013, the PlayStation 4 has had great games. In most situations, as long as the game is best on PS4, it qualifies. We've made some exceptions for games that are synonymous with PS4 over another version of the game. The list is always growing too, so if you don't see your favorite PS4 game, it might get added in the future. This part of the list is reserved for legacy game franchises that should have done better. Here we are with Bethesda's Fallout 4 and its clunky base building, clunkier combat, and the clunkiest bugs. Not the kind you shoot, mind, the kind that causes the game to crash, quests to fail, and the game to slow to a crawl. In 2015, when everyone was raving over The Witcher 3, Fallout 4's standard just wasn't up to scratch. Nowadays, though, Fallout 4's lack of innovation is strangely refreshing. It's got wicked funny writing, a cool world, and plenty of possibilities for you out in the wasteland. That's more than enough for Fallout 4 to qualify as a success in our books. No game quite depresses us like the superb PS4 racer Driveclub. Released by Evolution Studios, the former PlayStation studio behind the MotorStorm series, the arcade sim blend of Driveclub was beleaguered by online issues. Evolution would be shut down, a Sony decision I firmly believe is among its biggest mistake of the PS4 era. What they shut down was a masterful driving game maker, with gorgeous graphics, perfect dynamic weather systems that truly altered the tracks you raced on, a great array of GT cars, and sound design from the heavens. Driveclub was better than Gran Turismo. Add in a handling model that just purred, and it is no wonder it remains amongst the best racing games. Fall Guys is like being woken from a long, drab nightmare. At first I was disoriented, the colors, the music, and the somewhat alarming bean people. But then when you see that coveted gold crown, it all clicks. We're just silly bean people having a silly time. Fall Guys is pure, simple, delirious fun, and it remains brilliant for that. Ghost Recon Breakpoint wasn't worthy of this list on release day, but dozens of post-launch updates have pulled in missing features and tightened up others to make for one of the best open-world stealth experiences you can get on PS4. That said, a lack of players makes the raid In the Belly of the Beast trophy difficult to obtain. It's a fine campaign, but where the game really shines is when you turn the gear score off, immersive mode on, and explore the world with a full party of AI teammates. Traversing the island and scouting out objectives is an addictive core gameplay loop that could easily cost you over 100 plus hours checking everything out. Our next pick, Kingdom Come Deliverance, is a messy RPG set in medieval Bohemia, a game where you have to teach idiotic protagonist Henry to read, to speak, to pick locks, and to fight if you want to get anywhere. It's not a perfect game, but it is full of more personality and character than many modern RPGs. The story is modestly fantastic, and it immerses you in the historically accurate world, and it immersively breaks your attention throughout. I'm going to just read you the caps here. The fact Henry comes from nothing and has no skills is narratively refreshing and makes gameplay rewarding. Kingdom Come Deliverance is a fan favorite pick, but I think it is an underrated RPG that trounced many of the big names, Fallout 4 and Mass Effect, Andromeda, in the PS4 generation. If you've played Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, we think that PS4's Detroit Become Human is the cleanest and best representation of what this kind of video game can do. You follow 3 android characters through the slowly unraveling human and android sides of Detroit society, choosing your path through each moment. Each choice shapes the future, which pays off as you unravel the web of possibilities the story could have had for you by the end. So there are tense scenes, emotionally ravaging scenes, and heart-pumping action set pieces, and they all hit the mark because they are underscored by emotionally resonant writing and performances. Detroit Become Human is brilliant stuff. We didn't know which route to take for our racer of choice, sim or arcade. Then we realized that Wreckfest exists, and despite its name, it strikes a perfect balance of seriousness and fun. One moment you can concentrate on cornering speeds and braking zones, the next you are driving around with your bonnet sticking out of your rear bumper. Wreckfest is the racer to beat on PS4. Cuphead makes an incredible impression with its stellar hand-drawn art style reminiscent of old 1930s cartoons. What makes this one of the best PS4 games ever, though, is its tough but fair run-and-gun action gameplay. It looks and runs great on PS4, it's got brilliant two-player co-op, and the delicious Last Course DLC even adds a few excellent bonus bosses. Sportive, a must-play for PS4 owners. In Hades, you play as Zagreus, the son of Hades, who is seeking to escape the confines of his father's realm in the underworld. On his quest, Zagreus will be aided by his adoptive mother Nyx, the gods of Olympus, and a few other inhabitants of the underworld. Hades is the winner of over 50 Game of the Year awards, just in case you were wondering why it was on this list. Hades provides some of the slickest hack-and-slash combat, a rich atmosphere to explore, and an engaging character-driven storyline. It's one of the best PS4 experiences you can have, so go give it a try. Of all the mind-blowing FPS games to get our blood pumping on PS4, Wolfenstein: The New Order is the one. Featuring the hulking BJ Blazkowicz in the lead, rejoining the fight against the Nazis in a steampunk-esque modern day. It's got meaty combat that effectively uses gun blazing, akimbo, and stealthy savagery equally well. The level designs are not only gorgeous, but incredibly inventive and full of imaginative set pieces. Add in a story that, despite the ultra-violence in gameplay, has a surprisingly gruffly tender narrative at its heart. It manages to showcase the horror of the Nazi regime and allows you the cathartic destruction of it. Finally, with its great soundtrack and fantastic characters, you've got yourself one of the best single-player FPS on PS4. For many, the PS4 era's most experimental period was found in Nier Automata. What genre is it? Well, we think it's a JRPG, but it's also a hack'em/action game. You see, it's also a bit of a platformer, text adventure, and shoot 'em up too. But don't worry about it, director Yoko Taro certainly doesn't care what genre is what. He just cares about fun. Indeed, this is a stunningly well-designed game with fun at its core. It also has a fantastic story that requires multiple playthroughs to understand. It's a unique entry for our best PS4 games list, but Nier Automata deserves its plaudits. The critics got Days Gone wrong. Why? Well, our lead Deacon St. John isn't the most friendly bloke in the zombie, freaker-infested Oregon world. That and the biker aesthetic probably put a few off. But for most, it becomes steadily more endearing as the game roars on. With its wildernesses, mountain ranges and deserts, Orsank is a breeze of fresh air. The central narrative about Deacon's journey in the apocalypse is sometimes overwrought and cliche, but it's utterly endearing. Then you have the bike, your modifiable horse that gives the game its most unique spin. It is a glorious beast you will come to love dearly. Days Gone deserves a place on this list as the underrated oddity of the PlayStation catalog. Legendary creator Hideo Kojima's last game before his split with Konami, you owe it to yourself to play Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. It's a game that isn't quite finished, but what it does contain in story and gameplay is just outrageous. Taking place in an open-world Afghanistan, you'll find yourself in a sandbox with so much freedom you won't be able to drag yourself away from all the possibilities. From rain disguising footsteps to the time of night affecting how visible you are, small details have a big influence on how your intrusions into enemy camps go. The story is good while it is running, though it can be a bit absent. That leaves gameplay to do the talking in Metal Gear Solid 5, just as the best of the PS4 games should. When people are reminded of Batman Arkham Knight's existence, they immediately feel the urge to go for another drive through the rain-slick streets of Gotham. The game is even more fondly remembered in modern times than it was at launch, when players were needlessly hating the tanky Batmobile and twisty plot. Now players can just appreciate the fact that Arkham Knight was another great outing for the Cape Crusader. Guerrilla Games' near perfection of the traditional Ubisoft-style open-world formula was realized in Horizon Zero Dawn. This action RPG light was a big step for the developer of the FPS Killzone series when it was released in 2017. With a deep story, beautiful graphics, and meticulous and smart creature designs, Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the PS4's best games. The ore was heavily influenced by Dr. Hayata. And so I don't know who Orr was or where they're getting his name from, but Aloy isn't the most emotionally complex leading lady, but her straightforward, no-nonsense attitude has a unique charm. However, post-apocalypse America shines with its dinosaur-like terraforming creatures. The combat is honestly some of the best around and has layer after layer of bow and arrow goodness to deconstruct. Horizon Zero Dawn game is a modern PlayStation classic. So get on this wild ride now. Bandai Namco gets your adrenaline pumping in Tekken 7 every time you pummel your foes in this high-octane fighting game. By successfully chaining together intricate combos, you can keep your opponents juggled for maximum damage, a feeling of pure bliss when you manage to pull it off. Then you have the fiery soundtrack, which helps lift Tekken 7 into the stratosphere. Hunt, battle, loot, re-equip, and hunt again. Monster Hunter World and its game-changing expansion Iceborne are the perfect example of a simple gameplay loop that hides the deepest complexity just below the surface. The variety of weapons, armor, and monster designs here are well above anything else the series had put together. Monster Hunter's secret weapon is learn. You'll need to work out the strengths of your enemy, its hunting patterns, where it fits in the food chain, and how to wield the weaponry best suited for taking the beast down. You'll be watching, waiting, listening, and filling out compendium pages on beasts, literally. Yet, that is the perfection of Monster Hunter World and why it's so high on our best PS4 list. The three most recent Hitman games from IO Interactive are not just good, they are exceptional. So why not grab them bundled up into one complete package? This sensational collection of bloody sandbox missions featuring murder, outfits, and advanced weaponry is simply extraordinary. It's also the best stealth action you could imagine, so crack, get moving, agent. For Devil May Cry 5 to come out 11 years removed from the previous numbered entry and not only retain the quality of DMC4, but to make substantial refinements and improvements to the series formula is like some kind of divine intervention. DMC5 finally shakes free from the constraints by bidding farewell to backtrack and puzzle labyrinths at long last. The results put action front and center to create a tremendous new high for the series on PS4. Ghost of Tsushima is mesmerizingly stylish with its presentation of feudal Japan under siege by the invading Mongols. The gameplay combines samurai action and stealth perfectly, with the stance system for open combat proving to be an immensely smart design. The environments are gorgeous and look immense on PS4, let alone on the PS5, as we noted in our Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut review. Sucker Punch stripped out a lot of the HUD that has plagued modern open-world games and replaced it with environmental tells like the wind or a curious fox blazing a fiery trail through swaying green grass. The story is decent enough, but not excellent, and I felt the game was a little too large for its good and didn't innovate on the actual open-world activities. Even so, this is a fantastic 60-hour epic and certainly one of PS4's best offerings. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is a phenomenal break from the Soulsborne norm. You will know developer from Software 4. It's a far more linear adventure through a fictionalized version of Japan during the Sengoku that's just as packed with tough enemies, tougher bosses, and items rich with lore hints as you'd expect. Every character has a stamina bar, including Wolf, and it's this that'll become your main focus. You must wear it down to deal death blows and get closer to putting your enemies in the ground. Of course, since this is a From Software game, there's a lot more to it than that. Secret systems keep you on your toes, but it's the incredibly precise swordplay you must master that really makes this game shine among its contemporaries. We hear all the time that Bloodborne is a PS4 gem, but Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is often overlooked in favor of it, even though it offers more of the same gameplay you're desperately craving with that much-needed twist to keep it feeling shiny and fresh. Final Fantasy VII was a game that defined the original PlayStation, representing a massive step forward in what was possible in video game presentation, storytelling, and production scale. In 2020, after over 2 decades of fan requests, Square Enix finally released the long-awaited Final Fantasy VII Remake. While it was never likely to redefine modern gaming as we know it today, it delivered tremendously well on reinterpreting the source material and translating that into a modern experience. Where the original showcased raw PS1 power, Remake manages to accomplish the same feat for the PS4. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End makes it to the list of the best games on PS4, with pirates, adventure, emotion, graphics, and even more incredible things. It's a little tricky to break down why Uncharted 4 is so special, but we think it's because it nails every incredibly high barometer the other games in the series set. It then nonchalantly improves the combat and narrative with graphical upgrades. A Thief's End deepens the adventuring experience rather than expanding it. The final chapter in the tale of Drake is nothing short of perfection. Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of those unanimously agreed upon all-time great games. Rockstar Games' open-world heist action-adventure is in everyone's library at this point, which makes it hard to say anything unique about it. The story is amazing, the levels are creative and epic, Los Santos is iconic, and the gameplay systems are rock solid. While it was initially released on PS3, we think PS4 is where GTA 5 went from stratospheric success to galaxy-conquering accomplishment. The live service features of GTA Online kept bringing strands of new content while fostering a violent community of criminals that, against all odds, makes for a fun place to be. Grand Theft Auto 5 is wholly great. Outer Wilds is going to be hard to justify to some players, but those who know. This is one of the greatest games of all time and a pinnacle of game design. You are an astronaut in a solar system with a dying sun. With every 20 minutes comes another time reset, waking you up over and over to an alien ship exploding above you. Why have AAA graphics or massive open world when all you need is top-tier environmental design, storytelling, and simple but effective puzzle mechanics? Outer Wilds works as a harmony by swelling and softening with the realization that you are solving something conceptually outstanding. This game is sensational and makes for the perfect indie inclusion on our list of the best PS4 games. As the namesake of the Soulsborne genre, of course, Bloodborne is here. Compared to the Dark Souls series, the spirit of the game is in the more aggressive combat mechanics. The joy this game elicits when you get the combat flow and start unraveling the game's world is second to none. Despite failing to conquer Bloodborne myself, I still come crawling back because I know it's simply one of the best games on PS4. God of War is very good, isn't it? Kratos gets paired with his son Atreus in a world of the Norse rather than the traditional Greek mythology. It was a stroke of genius by director Cory Barlog, as this semi-open world adventure nails its setting and themes as hard as Kratos' Leviathan axe satisfyingly slams into strange new enemies populating the world and then returns. The sense of scale is epic, the narrative is compelling, and the level design is utterly perfect. The one-take camera shot adds to the sense of this game being an event experience, denoting it as one of the purest cases of out-and-out video game fun on this list. Well, that cements its place as one of PS4's best games. Insomniac's effort makes good on every element of a Spider-Man power fantasy, from the cityscape web-swinging to the Spidey sense-tingling combat. What stands out, aside from the stunning graphical fidelity and technical achievements of the game afforded to it by the power of the PS4, is how well-crafted and genuinely affecting the story of Marvel's Spider-Man is. This is a must-play on the console. JRPG fans, go and explore Persona 5 Royal's compelling story, engaging characters, over-the-top boss fights, insane enemy designs, an OST that slaps, and a slice-of-life element to keep you on your toes. You'll need to complete 2 whole playthroughs to have a chance to witness everything the game has to offer. The entire time, you'll never be bored, because there is nothing that Atlus hasn't thought about when crafting this slick and stylish world of Persona 5. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt outclassed every other open fantasy RPG. The gravel-voiced Witcher himself, Geralt, hunts monsters on the continent but is ostracized from the very communities that pay him to swing his sword about. He finds solace in the company of other outcasts, witches, and his semi-daughter Ciri. The mystery takes you through wonderful quests, like the legendary tale of the Red Baron, an investigation across the islands of Skellige, and a gang battle for the streets of Novigrad and Oxenfurt. Underpinned by great dialogue and deep, compelling lore, we think nothing touches The Witcher's fantasy world. I think The Last of Us Part 2 is exceptional, but it's by no means for everyone. Some of the narrative choices it makes fly in the face of the relationships you find solace in during the original. The Last of Us Part 2 was a heartbreaking reminder of mortality. We are not superheroes of the apocalypse, but people attempting to live in a world filled with ghoulish creatures and the worst human beings. This is a tale of the horrible things humans are capable of. So if you want to pursue Ellie's journey, invest in that pathway to hell emotionally and try and open yourself to the people who appear. You are going to get hurt. For our money, that is a brave and unique way to make a game. Red Dead Redemption 2 deserves to be front and center among the best games on PS4. You just don't make games this next level unless you are Rockstar. To call it a story would feel inadequate. This is the yarn of Arthur Morgan's life, the fading world of the Old West, and the reaction of those inhabiting that strange space are extraordinarily well realized. What sells it is the level of interaction. You can react to everyone and everything, which creates emergent scenarios unlike anything I've ever played before or since. If you so choose, just go and hunt, explore the glorious West, play poker, or just journey for days and days, ignoring the magnetic figure of Butch and his Vandalind gang.